Hello everyone, this is Mr. Hang, and this video is a guide for you for your ELM number 2 assignment, which is called Time Travel, Historical Minneapolis Tribune, 1867 to 1922. Our learning target is to utilize the Electronic Library for Minnesota to access primary documents. I can research historical records on the ELM. That's our I can statement. So our directions are this. Utilizing the Electronic Library for Minnesota to explore news articles from Historical Minneapolis Tribune going back 100 years ago. In your own words, summarize the 5 W's. That's the who, what, why, where, and when for each of the 4 articles that you select. When you're finished, share your document with your instructor using Office 365. All right, so just to talk a little bit about the goal here, the primary documents, we're going to access those through the ELM, and it's very neat. If you don't know what a primary document is, it's basically a document that comes from that time period. So it's not a book about a time period, it's an actual book from the time period. So that is what we're going to be looking at. We're going to go back 100 years ago. Typically on the day of the assignment, we'll choose that date and we'll go back exactly 100 years, and then we will find that day and we will look at what was going on 100 years ago in Minneapolis. And so you'll see here on this document that it's got some tables for you to fill out. So you can do this online. Your name, your date, your period, you just put those in the boxes down there. So each of these 4 articles have the headline, which you would put in here. You've got the who, so what is the article about? What are they doing? What's going on in this article? Why is this article, why is what's happening? Where is it happening, and when does it happen? Those are the 5 W's, and you'll be doing that 4 different times. So how do you go about doing that? Let's find out. First, you want to go to our Rocori School District homepage, and then you want to go to the gray tab up here, and in the middle you'll find the student, and you want to select eLibrary Minnesota or the ELM. That's the first option. So click on that, and here we have our interface for the ELM. Lots of cool stuff on here. I've said that before, and you could do an entire class on the ELM, but we're just going to focus on a couple things. So in this case, we're going to go to the topic search, and we're going to select Minnesota, just like we did for our collage assignment. We'll hit go, and then instead of going to Minnesota Reflections like we did before, this time we're going to go and actually choose the Historical Minneapolis Tribune. Alright, so now we've got some different options here, and what we want to do is we want to choose, well, this is 2020, so we want to go back to 1920. And so we have to find which one of these would best suit that. Looks like this one, the Minneapolis Morning Tribune, Minneapolis, Minnesota, 1909 to 1930. So we'll click on Browse the Title, and that brings us here. And then now this over in the left area here is where we're going to really pinpoint our search. So we're going to go to the year published, and we're going to choose 1920. And then we're going to choose the month it was published. I'll use today's date, and it's the 20th of March, so the 3rd month. And then we're going to click on the day published, which is the 20th. I'm just selecting that here. And then here we have it. This is our document that we're going to use, the Minneapolis Morning Tribune. So all you have to do now is click on that. And boom, here we have a ton of headlines. All the pages of the newspaper are listed over here on the left side, and you can look through all of these different. It's really cool to just look through it beyond the assignment and just look at some of the interesting things. Like, for instance, this isn't the assignment. You can't really do advertisements. They're not articles, but it is kind of interesting to look and see things like prices. spring suits, $11.85. $7 shoes. I mean, it just goes to show you how things have changed. All kinds of different things. But let's go back to what we're talking about here with our assignment. So usually the first 2 pages are going to have your most of your articles. And if I were you, I would choose a nice short one that's easy to understand. You'll notice that the writing back then is a little bit more, I don't know if I want to say difficult to read, but it's definitely different than the way writing is done now. So I'm going to choose this one. This one looks good. 1,000 lose lives in revolt at Kiel. So here's my article that I want. Now I can make this article bigger. I'll get rid of this thing here. I know it uses cookies. This is a very useful toolbar down here. This green plus button will zoom us in. And when I put my cursor over the item, it turns into a hand, and then I can just move things around a little bit. And so here we go. I can read now a little bit better this page. I could even make it bigger. So yeah. Now, another helpful tool. If some of the writing here is difficult to read, what you can do is go up to this right upper area here, and there's what looks like a clipboard. And if I hover my mouse over it, says copy text. So I'm going to click that. And now you'll notice my cursor has changed from a hand into a cross. And so it's just like snipping tools, where you basically go up to, you're going to frame this. So I'm going to put it up in the upper left area. I'm going to click on my left mouse button. I'm going to hold that mouse button, that left mouse button, and I'm going to go across. Everything that is in blue is what is going to be captured. So that's exactly what I want. Now, if you'll notice here, all of that text has been converted to a more readable font. So I can start reading this now. 1,000 lose lives in revolt at Kiel. That is going to be our headline. So what I will do is I'll go back to my Word document. And you know, one thing I can do is I can bring this over here like this. And I can look at this while I'm looking at my article as well. I'm just going to close this one out. I can read it well enough. So I'm going to go back over here. 1,000 lose lives in revolt at Kiel. So that's going to be my headline, and I'll write that in. 1,000. Let's take a look at that. In lose lives in revolt at Kiel. Oops. Okay, so that's my headline. So if I go back now, who is it about? And actually, one of the nice things about news articles is the first line will tell you where and when. So it's in Koblenz and it's March 19th. So that's 2 of our requirements filled right there. So Koblenz at March 19th. So where? I'm going to go down here. Koblenz. And when? March 19. Now, who? Let's see here. Unconfirmed reports received here are to the effect that 1,000 persons have been killed at Kiel. So 1,000 people. That's who? What? They were killed. Now the only question is why. Hopefully they answer that. Let's find out. Sounds kind of bad. It is said the situation there is grave. The communists are reported to be gaining headway in Saxony and Westphalia. A Soviet republic has been proclaimed at Chemnitz and Plauen, at Leipzig, The workmen and the bourgeoisie parties are said to have come to an agreement. In the rural basin, the majority socialists have given an order to end the strike, but it is doubted if the order is obeyed by the communists. So, it doesn't really say why, but it sounds like some sort of a revolt is going on here. So, in this revolt, they were killed, so that was what we'll put in here. So why? I'll put in there was a revolt. Alright, so that's the first one. And that's basically how you do this assignment. If you have any questions, just let me know. This will be posted in Teams, and I will be available to answer questions as well. So I hope you found this helpful, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. See you later.